Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Okay, this is the Arabic greetings. I am in Dubai, so this is the first thing I start with. Thank you, Martha, very much for the introduction. And of course, ITU is likewise very happy to have DSA and working together with DSA and all other relevant parties. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear participants. It is a great pleasure and honor to be here today with you for my first time. And it's always nice to see known faces, familiar faces, but also to meet new ones. It's always a great pleasure. I think this is one of the richest points in our community. I also forward you greetings from Mario and great success for your event. So let me start with the presentation. I will present briefly about ITU. Okay, someone, I probably need, oh, sorry, but this one is not moving. Okay, then I'll have my eyes. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so very briefly, I will start with the history. So the International Telecommunication Union, or ITU as you'll know it today, is the oldest specialized agency of the United Nations, established in 1865, long term before the modern communications technologies that we know and now take for granted before even it existed. Its creation reflected a shared understanding that international cooperation was essential for telegraphy at that time, and today that same principle of cooperation remains at the heart of our work, though applied to a much broader and more complex radio communication ecosystems. So you can see that this year we celebrated 160 years, and the same principles with which the ITU started still are ongoing and still applicable. The ITU mission. Well, the ITU mission is to connect everybody and everyone and leave no one behind. And it is not only a vision, it is a necessity in today's interconnected world. The, of course, final principle to the users is to provide the affordable access to communications. And this is the foundation for everything happening today, which includes the economic growth, education, healthcare, environmental sustainability, and social inclusion. And of course, all this needs us to work all together, which means the ITU, and when I say ITU, it's all the stakeholders. It's not the ITU staff, but the ITU member states, memberships, companies, universities, and everybody included. And we all need to work together to reach our goals. The ITU includes all radio communication users and services and consider them as equal. Whether we are talking about broadcasting, satellite communications, mobile networks, scientific research, maritime and aeronautical services, new and emerging applications, and so on. Every user or service has a legitimate place in the spectrum landscape, and it is our responsibility, all of us, to provide a fair and balanced framework that allows these diverse services to coexist and thrive. So the WRC role is to allocate spectrum and orbit resources for emerging and radio applications while protecting the existing usage. You hear that all the time in WRCs. Of course, it's to achieve global spectrum harmonizations for economies of scale and interoperability of the equipment whenever it is possible, and to maintain the right balance between the spectrum requirements of all radio communication services and spectrum usage, including sharing whenever possible. At the end, to create the regulatory certainty for users, regulators, and telecommunication industry. And of course, the WRC is a central mechanism to achieve that. It is held every 3 to 4 years. And of course, the main purpose, again, for the WRC is to update the radio regulations and to make key decisions on frequency allocations. The WRC operates on the basis of consensus, ensuring that every voice is heard and that outcome reflects the collective with all international community. This is the WRC cycle. I will not go into detail. I think it's clear enough, but I mean, it's clear enough in the sense of it shows very complicated, which is the reality. And WRC is complicated. The first time is a little bit difficult to participate. Second time, more familiar. Third time, you become an expert, and so on. So you can see how many organs or entities are involved within the structure of WRC, like the I2R sector, where all the sharing and compatibility studies take place. And of course, the CPM, the conference that prepares for the WRC. And we have other bodies like RRB, Radio Regulation Board, that decides whenever there are conflicts or not clear decisions. And of course, as I said already, the main issue or outcome is the radio regulations, which started from my initial slide from the Telegraph Convention to 4 volumes radio regulations. So the WRC, of course, the process enables us to respond to growing connectivity needs, while also ensuring the protection of incumbent services. It also demonstrates the value of consensus-based decision-making, which helps provide regulatory certainty and paves the way for innovation, investment, and deployment worldwide. As we are in DSA, and it is about the unlicensed usage. So I tried to summarize in one slide the history, or a brief history on the wireless access system and airlines that started from WRC 03, the discussions concerning the 5 gigahertz, and the WRC 03 allocated the frequency bands of 5,150 to 5,350 megahertz and 5,470 to 5,070 25 megahertz on a primary basis to the mobile service for the implementation of WAS and airlines. Then, in WRC 19, the part of the 5 gigahertz, 5,150 to 5,250 megahertz, the regulatory conditions have been changed by the WRC 23 to allow the use of WAS and airlines in trains and cars and a limited outdoor deployment due to protection of space services. And I remember this was a huge decision. I've been there. Then the latest one, and the still a baby, WRC 23, the big discussions on 6 gigahertz. And I think that these discussions are still ongoing on the 6 gigahertz. So you can see that parts of it were allocated in different regions or countries in footnotes that were identified for IMT use, but also it was confirmed and reiterated that it's still used for the implementation of WAS and airline, leaving, I wouldn't say conflict or unclarity, I would say flexibility to be used and to be decided by national regulators or policies and or regional decisions. So for now, we can say we're done for now. Well, maybe not, because for WRC 27, it is indeed there is no agenda item on WAS or LAN. However, the studies on possible IMT identification in targeting the 7 gigahertz, which is the exact adjacent one to the 6 gigahertz where the airline and WAS are used, are still being discussed in the working parties. So, and I'm sure and I know that you people are following very closely the sharing studies and everything that happens in 5D and 5A. So, To summarize again not the process, but to give you maybe or to highlight some important dates. So we're exactly, I shouldn't move the point in the middle, we're exactly in the middle. We're in November 25, and WRC finished in December 2023. And the next one, it will be in Shanghai. It is confirmed, by the way, if you didn't have the information yet. Now it is confirmed to take place in Shanghai, China, from 18 October to 12 of November 2027. So next step. Now the I2R sharing studies, normally they should have finished. The work concentrates on the preparation of CPM texts to prepare the CPM report that will be the draft CPM report that will be submitted to administrations for their approval or modifications and preparation to the CPM meeting that will take place in April 2027. Of course, in meantime, we have some regional meetings going on, like ACMG, ATO, CTEL, CPT, and APT, of course, to try to harmonize or to make closer the decisions. And of course, we have also the Radio Assembly 27 that normally takes place 1 week before the WRC. And after the WRC, there's always the CPM for the future conference to take place. And that time it will be CPM 31, session 1, which allocates and distributes the sharing work and the agenda items on the study groups, the I2R study groups, to be shared and to be studied. The coming or the close coming important event at the level of the I2R is the Interregional Information Session on WRC, and this is the first one. Normally we have 3 within a cycle of WRC, and it will take place in Geneva from 3 to 5 December 2025, and it will discuss the main agenda items of the WRC 27 and also focus on see what are the regional, I would say, orientations and directions. So I also have in my presentation, I added for you, you can, I know that the presentation will be published, so you can have a look on some information data. For example, the radio regulation navigation tool that you can have for free, and also the agenda item of WRC 27 that will take place. So that's just for your information. And allow me before closing to remind that Spectrum is a finite and shared resource. And the success, of course, of our global communication ecosystem depends on cooperation, compromise, and commitment to the collaborative and collective good. The ITU, of course, again, all of us, stands ready to continue supporting all stakeholders in these efforts, providing the neutral platform, the technical expertise, and the regulatory framework needed to make global connectivity a reality for all, and that's from the BR side. With that, I thank you for your attention. I wish you all fruitful discussions at this summit. I look forward to the outcomes of your deliberations and maybe to see you in Geneva in a few weeks. Thank you very much.